Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We begin in the name of Allah, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I want you to take a look at the number that's on my finger. Remember it towards the end because right now it's blurry, just like our goals in our worship. Today's topic is about worship and if it's simple or difficult. And the first thing that comes to mind when you think of worship, you think of prayer, you think of Taraweeh, you think of reciting Quran and fasting. Yet we have a misconception of what it actually means. And Allah clarifies this in Surah Dhariyat. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ I have not made mankind and jinn except but to worship me. Anything that Allah loves is considered to be worship. You sleeping so that you wake up rested the next day is considered to be worship. You eating to fuel your body is considered to be worship. Even you going to school every single day is considered to be worship. So then the answer is simple. Worship is in fact simple. But when life begins to drag you in every direction, then it's a different story. Because then you're struggling with even keeping up with the fard, with just keeping the prayers on time. And so this is something that even the students from back then struggled with. The students of Imam Raza, for example, they saw their teacher from 6 a.m. all the way to 7 p.m., 9 p.m., he would be teaching classes. And then towards the end of his life, he had published more than 500 books. They just couldn't comprehend how he was able to do this. So his students walked up to him and asked him, how are you able to do this? And he gave them a very simple answer. He said, every night, right before I sleep, no matter what, I tell myself I'm going to write just one line. And so on his bad days, when he was truly in fact very tired, he would write simply one line. And when he was energetic, he had the creative flow going, he would write half a page, 1 page, and these turned into volumes. Volumes turned into series, and by the end of it, he had published more than 500 books. So he didn't build his legacy on his perfect days. He built it by protecting his worst days. This is also supported by the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sahaba came up to him and he said, Ya Rasulullah, Islam is too much. I can't keep up. There's too many rules. Haram, halal, prayer, this, that. I can't. Give me something that I can do so I can consistently do it, so I can do it better. And Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he gave him not a to-do list, not something like 2 rakahs. He simply said, just remember to keep your tongue moist with the remembrance of Allah. It's as simple as saying Subhanallah. It's as simple as saying Bismillah and just starting your day. And so to drive this point even home, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ narrated and said, forgive me, he said, the most beloved deeds to Allah are those that are consistent, even if they are small. And so we oftentimes fall into the trap of shaitan where we think, in order for me to do worship, in order for me to achieve and become the best person possible, I have to put myself at this high pedestal. I have to wake up to pray tahajjud. I have to fast. But what ends up happening is you fall behind and you never get to accomplish it because you're waiting for the perfect day to come. And so what you have to do is you have to make a system. You have to make habits for the worst days possible. When you've fasted all day long, when you've been praying Taraweeh all night long, and all day long you were in classes. When you go home and you're in your room, what are you going to do? Are you going to say, I'm going to write a whole page? No, because that's impossible. You're very tired, you're human. And Allah knows this. So what you have to tell yourself is, I'm going to write just simply one line. And so with that, you've built and trained yourself to have a consistent habit, a consistent routine. This is called making systems. And this is what's going to be able to help you get to the finish line. And so when we say, is worship simple? Truly, Allah has shown many times in the Quran and in the Sunnah, it is very simple. Yet we make it difficult on ourselves. So remember the number that I showed you earlier. You can see it now because it's closer and it's not blurry. And that's exactly what we need to do with our goals and with our worship. We need to make it into small, fun-sized bites. We need to make it achievable. If we can see it and our brain can register that it's attainable, then before you know it, you'll have accomplished everything that you've wished to accomplish. But if you make it very big and very grand where your brain can't even see it, then you will never accomplish it. And truly, yes, worship will be hard then. And so with that, remember this. It's as simple as Bismillah and just begin. Assalamu alaikum, jazakallah khairan for listening.
ولا تهنوا ولا تحزنوا وأنتم الأعلون